Have you ever felt like no matter what you achieve, it's never enough? You get what you want, a new job, more money, recognition, but soon a new desire takes its place. It's an endless cycle, and the more you chase, the more restless you become. Over 2,500 years ago, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, saw this same struggle. As a prince, he had everything, wealth, luxury, and comfort, but still felt something was missing. He left it all behind in search of truth and discovered a profound realization. Happiness isn't found in having more, but in needing less. Today we'll explore Buddha's path to contentment, the wisdom that can free you from endless craving and help you find peace in the present. If you've ever wondered why fulfillment feels just out of reach, this lesson will change how you see life forever. Let's begin. The endless trap of desire. Why more is never enough. Siddhartha Gautama, before becoming the Buddha, grew up surrounded by luxury and splendor. He had silk robes, the finest foods, and every comfort a palace could offer. Yet, despite having more than most could ever dream of, a sense of emptiness lingered within him. He observed that the satisfaction from each pleasure was always short-lived, quickly replaced by another craving. This observation led him to question the nature of human desire itself. Why, he wondered, do we never feel completely fulfilled, no matter how much we possess? He came to realize that desire is like a fire. It consumes everything we feed it, yet remains eternally hungry. The more we indulge, the stronger the flame becomes, compelling us to chase the next new thing. Even when we achieve our goals, a fresh longing arises, leaving us restless and unsatisfied. The prince understood that true peace could never be found in the cycle of endless wanting. Instead, it lay in breaking free from that very cycle. If even someone living in unimaginable luxury could feel incomplete, it became clear that no amount of external abundance could fill the void within. By questioning the illusion that more is always better, Siddhartha began his journey toward understanding the deeper nature of contentment. The illusion of external happiness. Why looking inward is the answer. Gautama Buddha's most profound breakthrough came when he realized that external pleasures, no matter how abundant, failed to produce lasting happiness. He noticed that people often tie their well-being to outcomes, wealth, relationships, status, but each of these can vanish in an instant. When that happens, despair sets in, revealing that their sense of joy was built on a shaky foundation. He likened this chase to filling a leaking pot, where no matter how much water you pour in, it can never stay full. In his search for truth, the Buddha discovered that real peace arises when you stop clinging to what is fleeting. Instead of looking outward, he turned his gaze inward, realizing that happiness must be cultivated from within. The outside world will always shift and change. Possessions can be lost, loved ones can leave, and achievements can fade. But the mind, when properly trained, can remain calm and content regardless of these fluctuations. By embracing the truth that everything external is transient, he freed himself from the bondage of constant worry. This approach does not mean denying life's joys. It means understanding that they are gifts to be cherished, not idols to be worshipped. In the end, Buddha's lesson is simple yet transformative. Lasting contentment comes not from manipulating the world around us, but from harmonizing the world within. The power of gratitude. How to shift your mindset. Throughout his teachings, the Buddha emphasized a practice of appreciation for what is already present. Rather than always yearning for the next best thing, he encouraged a mindful acknowledgement of small blessings that often go unnoticed. In the monastic tradition, monks demonstrate this principle by living on alms, receiving only what is offered each day. Through this humble way of life, they learn to feel thankful for every grain of rice, every drop of water, and every moment of peace that graces their path. This deep gratitude transforms ordinary experiences into sources of joy, proving that fulfillment is not about quantity, but perspective. By paying attention to life's details, a warm sunrise, a shared smile, a quiet moment of reflection, we shift our focus from what's missing to what's already here. Buddha taught that our suffering often stems from an endless pursuit of more, which blinds us to the abundance at our fingertips. When we pause to be grateful for the present, we break the habit of restlessly scanning the horizon for the next desire. In doing so, we discover that life itself is a gift, and contentment isn't found in the grandiose, but in the recognition of life's simplest treasures. In this state of open-hearted gratitude, the mind softens, and a gentle peace emerges, revealing that the key to contentment has been within us all along: the burden of possessions. Why owning more won't make you happier. Buddha observed that while wealth and possessions can provide comfort, they often bring about a hidden weight, the constant fear of loss. He noticed how those with great riches were often anxious, worried that their fortune might slip away. The more they owned, the more they had to protect, and the more they lived in the shadow of fear. Even someone who accumulated vast treasures could never rest, for the satisfaction of possessing did not eradicate insecurity. It merely transformed it into a different form of worry. In one well-known tale, a wealthy merchant lost part of his fortune and fell into despair as if his life had collapsed. Buddha pointed out that his suffering was not caused by the loss itself, but by his attachment. The merchant had identified so completely with his possessions that when they vanished, he felt empty and unworthy. This story highlights a profound truth. If you let your self-worth hinge on what you own, you grant those objects the power to control your peace of mind. The Buddha's solution was clear. Possessions need not be abandoned, but the attachment to them must be softened. When we realize that happiness cannot be imprisoned in material things, we begin to free ourselves from the constant anxiety of preserving what might be taken from us. Simplicity and detachment. The art of needing less. Buddha's path, known as the middle way, was neither indulgent nor severe. He had witnessed both extremes, the lavish life of a prince and the harsh practices of asceticism. What he discovered was a balanced route, one that allowed for basic needs but did not indulge needless cravings. This practice of simplicity arose from the understanding that true freedom lies not in acquiring everything, but in letting go of the compulsion to have it all. By detaching from excess, we create room for what genuinely matters: calmness of mind and clarity of purpose. Monks in the Buddhist tradition embody this principle by owning only the necessities. They walk through life with a lightness that contrasts sharply with the heaviness some experience when juggling endless possessions. Each item is purposeful, and there is a sense of gratitude rather than entitlement. This approach extends beyond physical items. Mental clutter, unresolved grudges, constant comparisons, or obsessive desires can weigh us down just as much as material possessions. By cultivating detachment, we free ourselves from these mental chains. The practice does not call for us to reject life's joys, but to embrace them without being enslaved by them, confident that our contentment does not rest on any single external factor. Finding contentment in impermanence. Impermanence, or anicca, is a cornerstone of Buddha's teachings. He recognized that all things, from the seasons to our personal fortunes, are in a constant state of flux. Nothing remains stable forever, and attempting to cling to any moment, person, or possession inevitably leads to disappointment. Many of us resist change, longing for good times to last or hoping to avoid life's hardships. Yet, in doing so, we set ourselves up for suffering, because reality unfolds with or without our approval. Buddha illustrated this truth with the parable of the broken cup. When a monk drinks from his cup, he does so with the awareness that one day it will fall, crack, or be lost. By viewing the cup as already broken, he appreciates it fully in the present. When it eventually breaks, he remains calm, for he never assumed it was permanent. This lesson teaches us to cherish what we have, while accepting that nothing is guaranteed to last. Instead of fearing the passage of time, we learn to embrace each moment as unique and fleeting, deepening our sense of gratitude. In this acceptance of life's impermanence, we find a peace that is not shaken by change because we have stopped waging war against the natural flow of existence. The role of mindfulness in cultivating true contentment. Mindfulness is at the heart of Buddhist practice, a method Buddha used to train his mind to remain steady in both comfort and adversity. It involves paying keen attention to the present moment, observing thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. Through this attentive awareness, Buddha discovered that suffering arises when we get lost in the future or dwell in the past. By rooting ourselves in the here and now, we access a calmness that neither anticipates difficulties nor replays old mistakes. This mindful approach can be as simple as pausing to notice your breath. Each inhalation and exhalation serves as an anchor, reminding you that life unfolds one moment at a time. When we practice mindfulness daily, we learn to let intrusive cravings come and go without acting on them, and we see fears for what they are, temporary waves in the vast ocean of our consciousness. Buddha showed that by consistently returning to this calm, centered state, we develop the ability to recognize contentment in even the smallest details of life. This does not require dramatic changes or grandiose efforts. Rather, it calls for deliberate awareness. Over time, this steady observance reveals that real satisfaction is not something you hunt in the outside world, but something you nurture within yourself. Buddha's wisdom reveals that unbreakable mental strength isn't about forcing yourself to stay strong. It's about embracing the truth of who you are, mastering your mind, and finding peace in every moment. When you practice mindfulness, acceptance, emotional detachment, and compassion, you build a foundation that can weather any storm. The secret to mental strength is not avoiding pain or hardship, but learning to face them with wisdom and resilience. Which principle stood out to you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you found value here, remember to subscribe for more insights. May Buddha's timeless teachings guide you toward a peace that